and just hit OK or continue on your screen. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome. Good morning. I can't believe it's almost, we have another week left and March is going to be done. I mean, that's 25% of the way through of the year, which is insane. Think about it, right? So I just want to say, first of all of you know me. My name's Wendy. I want to thank you first and foremost for being on this call, truly. And I mean that because taking an hour of your day means a lot. And there's a lot of training that's available. But this one I feel is of utmost importance because all of you are the hot seat guests. And I talk about that every single week. But you know what's working. You know what's not working for you and your teams. And this is an opportunity for all of you. Number one, I'm going to ask for you to just be open, right? Be candid with your feedback. Number two, be vulnerable. We don't know it all. And what did I say I can't remember what I said last week, but the more you know, the more you realize how little you know, right? Some of you are shaking your heads. You're like, yep. So here's what I would ask of all of you. Number one, just be present. I know there's a lot of distractions out there, but be present, be committed, and just be supportive of one another because all of you are going to be the next superstars. I mean, some of you, Artina, you are the next superstars, if that's in fact what you want out of all of this. So with that being said, the objective for today is onefold. What is it? I say this every week. What's the objective for today? Everyone's like, I don't know. So here's the objective for today. It's to learn something new, right? Not only to learn something new, but to take something out of this call today and to go implement this into your business. That's the objective of the call. That's it. Simple. Yes. Erin, did you have something? Oh, I thought you were like.
No, I was not muted and there's loudness in my house. I'm so sorry. It's like, it's my first time on Zoom.
Oh, no, you're good. Okay. So all of you are the geniuses of this group. So let's talk about today's topic. We had the elite calls last week, right? We called all of you. We kind of shared with you where you were. And some of you are like, hot damn, I feel good. And other ones are like, oh, where am I? Am I where I want to be? Am I in that top 200 or top 100 or top 50 or top 20, whatever that is? I just want to say a big round of applause to all of you. We are 10 weeks into this year already. And as you look at your goals and where you want to be, obviously you break them out for the year and then you break them out by quarter and figure out exactly where you want to be by the end of March. That's a good pause, if you will, in your business to figure out if you're tracking along your goals, right? If you're tracking on where you want to be. So with that being said, let's talk, as we talk about the road to elite in particular, you know how important that rank advancement leadership points are to your business, right? Hitting diamonds, hitting star diamonds, etc. So to get new diamonds, a lot of you are doing push to diamond groups. That's working. Some of you have done it. It's not working. So what I'd like to do today, just based on obviously feedback from all of you and the calls that I've had with all of you is, you need your 2 new diamonds. Some of you are like, yep, check, got it, right? Some of you are like, I think I have a good idea, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm going to ask all of you, I'm going to start with the first question is how are you instilling belief in your coaches and how are you identifying your diamonds, right? Or soon to be diamonds that are going to get you to where you want to be for this year?
Is this where we talk or you want
Yes, this is where we talk. This is where we talk.
Well, for me, I was one of the people that looked at my elite report. I'm like, the hell? For me, it feels like it's November already. Like, what's going on? And so I have 1 diamond. As soon as she got it, it left. As soon as she got it, she had 2 emeralds to say, I just feel like I need to take a break. I need to step back a little bit. And we're like, you only been here for like 3 months. Where you going? Where you going to? So that happened. But I do have, she's in it. she's like, hey, I understand people come and go. I'm just through this. I'm just going to find my runners. And so I've paired her up with another coach that's one emerald away from Diamond.
Okay.
And so I'm just go ahead and be totally honest with y'all. My diamonds get to Diamond through discount members and, a friend and a parent. And it's like, y'all do this together. And I do that to install belief, because I know a lot of people like, that's not stability, and it's not, they're shaky, but at least they know they can get there, and so if they can get there once, they can do it again. It's just different the second time around. So I know that going in. So I pair them up. And so the other girl's like, well, if she can do it, I can do it, And so those will be my two. But for me, I feel like I go through these cycles where I have these runners when we're going through a rank push. And then in that push is when I find out who my people are, because some of them are just like, the world has ended. Like, they've been through harder things, but for whatever reason, 6 weeks just takes the life out of them and they can't continue on. So for me, I have to almost continuously go through that cycle to find out who sticks. It's like having 5 good ones and knowing out of this 6 weeks, 4 of them going to fall off, but I'm going to find that one. And then I'm going to go through it again, and 5 of them going to stay on. I'm going to find that one. So I'm just finding those ones out of each, and it like sucks like so bad, but I'm here for the long haul. So it's like, whatever, I got to do what I got to do. But that's where I'm at, just pairing up coaches that I see that are doing it, because it is nothing like pairing a coach up with a coach whose belief isn't there. And then it's like their negativity or their lack of, or their limiting belief just attacks the other person, and then they start questioning, and then they both end up just failing. I hope that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to find out who's who, pair them together, accept who's not, because you have the ones where you're like, you would be so good at this. I had really high hopes for you. Like, we were going to dream together, and then they don't do it. So I've tried to back away from that and just like, hey, the invitation to run with me is open. I want to stay approachable. I want you to know that I'm here, but I also have to release myself, because it becomes draining, because it's like my dreams, I want it more for them than they want it for themselves. So that's where I'm at. And so now I'm just trying to bring in new blood, new energy, and really just focus on that. Because if I focus on what I have like right now, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I hope all that makes sense. So
yeah, no, it does make sense. Artina, thank you for sharing. And if you look at the chat was kind of blowing up. Oh, same here, girl. Like, same here. A lot of you are dealing with the same things. So I love the fact that you're actually partnering them with another success partner. I think that's great. So that's really good. Obsessed. Everyone's like commenting on you, Artina, and your energy. God love you. And just how real you are. So how are you all identifying? Like, and I know you have you have your runners that say, I want diamond, I want star diamond, I want 2-star, I want all of it. How are you, first of all, let's just backtrack for just a moment. How are you identifying who those diamonds are? And then what are you doing? What is your process? That's what I'd like. Let's start there.
I have kind of the perfect storm of good things happening right now. Okay. Which hasn't happened in a while, guys. Like, I feel like we had like a great like June and July, and then everything tanked, including Aaron Hopkins in Q4 last year. So this is me coming off of that. So this is not me being like, everything's so great, my business is exploding. But like, after a huge lull in Q4, right. My business is exploding. And I think it's because of first of all, these girls are building to diamond strictly with BFF codes. Okay. We have a pod. We're like, who needs one today? Who needs one today? And the leaders are just giving them out to whoever can sign somebody up in that moment. So these girls have the urgency to sign people up, because literally, if you're not gonna, there's 10 other people in this pod pushing for diamond. I'm giving whoever has the next person to sign up my codes. Okay. So I popped one last week, just strictly with BFF codes. I got 3 going this week. And then I have 2 leaders, one's sponsored by me, but one's just in my downline. They're in the pod, and they're both rank advancing massively this week, I think. or next week. And it's the combination of exactly what Artina said, pairing them up and getting the energy, because there's so much FOMO there. And we have a retreat coming up. So we have the retreat, the pod, a diamond push, and like people are racing and fighting for these codes. So I have not used a code for myself yet, but I've reached out to everyone that I've signed up in 2021 to give my codes to my downline. Because we don't need them. Like, we got it. I can get somebody in at 160, but they can't. Like, they struggle there. So we as Star Diamond leaders are pulling our codes, and the goal is to always have one ready if somebody has somebody ready to sign up. Then when they're 3 away, they go into an even more special pod where we're like, you're 3 away. This is your moment. Like, it's got to be this week, or you're going to wake up on Thursday down 1 or 2 and you're going to be 5 away. Let's go. We're not doing the slow death march to diamond. And they are truly linking arms and cheering each other on. And a big part of that's the retreat, because we have a graphic, and once you go diamond, you're in qualification and your picture's on the graphic with all the other people who are going. And the retreat is just for new diamonds, 2021 new diamonds.
Okay.
And their host, but like, we have a fun Star Diamonds hosting it, so they want to be in on that. Yeah, but that's it. The promo codes are changed the game for us this month. And people are coming off of February Team Cup where they're invited their asses off, and now they can come back with a $40 discount. Which is huge, to your point. So I'm on the upswing, coming from I went from, my second business center went from 10 to 1 in Q4. So I just need you to hear that, because I'm telling you things are good right now, but it's because it was coming off of that bad stuff.
Yep.
So the codes aren't coach specific?
No, they're not.
I knew it. I should have just my gut.
Yes. So Erin actually
go
ahead.
Can I ask a question, Erin? Are you just like reaching out to your discount coaches and saying, you were given a code, if you're not going to use it, can I have it? Why did I not do that?
Hey, listen, hold on, Whitney, you still can. Like,
yes, I'm going to do that. Can I leave the call now? Yeah, that's really smart, Erin.
I first sent out an email and no one responded, which, first of all, like, you don't want to give people a $40 discount, but that's just, I'm not an email person. I've tried to switch my business to email a million times. I'm a conversation person. So I chilled with the emails and just started voice texting everybody. And they're like, of course. And what I really want is for them to sign somebody up. I want to crush it with SE+1. Like, how much more accountable would you be if your mom and your sister were doing this with you? Like, I'll sign them up. I'll coach them. I'll show you how to do a share cart. You'll get money and your bestie doing this with you. This is so awesome. That's what I want. That's the first goal. But then if they don't do that, I'm like, well, give me your code. I'm going to give to somebody pushing for diamond.
Yeah. How many codes, Erin, speaking of, do you know how many codes you've given out?
Well, also these girls are signing up one and then getting the code and then signing up one with the next code. So it's kind of like they should have their own codes.
Yeah.
So I'm just coming in when I need to. But the problem is these codes take like 72 hours to get. So that's it. They're like waiting on a code because they signed up their mom, but she's not going to get it for 72 hours. And so I'm like, use this one. We got you. Like, sign people up when they're ready to sign up.
Okay.
So Erin,
I think it's the retreat graphic. That's where the FOMO, like, people are like, even like you can't even come on the retreat as a Star Diamond unless you pop a new diamond. And even those girls are like, well, that graphic did the trick. I want to die because I'm not on the graphic. I'm like, I'll make a graphic every month. This is how you guys act.
So Erin, so your girls are sending them out and enrolling what will be called preferred customers right off the bat, right? That's how they're doing.
I do what Artina does. I just get them there with placeholders. And then once they're there, we need to talk about finding working coaches. But I think that you don't really attract your working coaches until you're a diamond.
Well, yeah. One of the things that's actually been helpful before the codes, and the codes are now like helping like expedited, is I run these 90-day nutrition groups. And so in order to get in, I say you need to have 15 or more pounds to lose. It's a 90-day commitment. And basically I call them a preferred customer, right? So this is going to be really helpful once we make this full switch to preferred customer. But getting new coaches comfortable enrolling coaches right off the bat and becoming emeralds right away without even having to necessarily involve a spouse or somebody else. It's like you can just get people to say yes right away. And then now they're getting these codes, which has been helpful. So anytime we're in a qualification period or I've got new coaches that are in that shakiness, it's all about jumping in. And if you want to work out, great. If you do the Peloton, great. It doesn't even need to be a Beachbody workout, which attracts a whole different set of people anyway. And I run those 4 times a year, and most of the posts are around nutrition. And it's long, man. It's 90 days. Like it does drag a little bit. So you have to be super committed to being like the best challenger in the group. But it's a fun way to, or not a fun way. I guess it's more of it's easier, in my opinion, to get people to enroll as coaches right off the bat if it's about nutrition. And if they have 15 or more pounds to lose, I'm like, you're not going to get that off in 30 days. So let's talk about a longer plan. And that's been helpful.
That is brilliant, Alicia. I mean, that really is. And that's something that I don't think we all take advantage. Some of you may, some of you may not, but that is one of our key competitive advantages that we have, that Peloton does not have, which is the nutrition component. Think about that. I mean, that is a absolute competitive advantage. And I mean, yes, leading with nutrition, that is really key. So Alicia, that's great. Thank you for sharing. And
yeah, it's also just a nice way to switch up your posts. It's like we keep talking about workouts all the time. And then to say, hey, who already has their workouts done? Like, where are my Peloton people? Where are my yoga people? Like, where are the people that are doing their workout, but the scale maybe hasn't moved, or like they're feeling a little stagnant, like what they're doing isn't quite working. It's because of the nutrition. Here's what we have going on, right? So we're doing one right now to Memorial Day, but like you can time it around holidays, or there's always a great, push at the end of the post Labor Day, et cetera. So it happens to line up with our qualification periods pretty well too.
No, that's great. And that's smart in terms of you being strategic and your timing and how you're actually doing that. That's wonderful. Okay, what else? So Erin, you mentioned pods. Lots of you are doing pods. Several of you have done, Facebook groups and saying that's not working, or, doing guides and things of that nature. What else is, we can talk about what's not working all day long. Like, that's not the intent for the call today. Let's talk about what is working. So Erin, obviously leveraging the MyBFF promo code. Brilliant. You've got the retreat, and they're running for both of those simultaneously. What else are some of you doing that you're seeing, at least in your business, that's working for after you've identified your diamonds? And the ones that are saying, and again, there are several that will say, I want it, but that aren't actually doing the work to get there. What are you doing with the ones that are actually putting in the work, that's doing, the vitals every single day? What are you doing with them? What does that look like for you? What does your process look like?
So I'll go ahead and go. I feel like this is my biggest struggle, is getting coaches from like 4 or 5 coaches to really building that belief in themselves to push for diamond and hit that stepping stone to then go to 2-star. Like you said, I've done all the push groups and the pods, and that's just not my jam. It's not where my coaches thrive. They thrive off of one-on-one, and I'm okay giving them my time if they're showing up and working, and I think we all have those coaches who are like, I want to be diamond so bad. I'm going to push for diamond. I want to be in this push group, and I want to do X, Y, and Z. And they're not showing up. And so what I'm realizing is when I'm going through my back office is I see these coaches who maybe haven't shown up for a couple of months, but now they're putting in the work, they're putting in the time. And I have coaches texting me. They're like, oh, I just signed up 2 coaches. And I'm like, what? Like, this is incredible, So those are the people that I'm really pouring that belief into, because I think that that's just where that disconnect is, or where that gap is just that belief, making sure they're doing personal development that really fits them and what they're struggling with. That's been key, because what I realize is when they're in these groups or they're in these pods, they get very overwhelmed, which is fine, right? Like, it overwhelms some people and other people thrive off of it. But for my coaches, they really love being with 1 or 2 people, working with each other. They're doing power hours on their own now, like in groups. And so I've never had that before. And I think just doing our retreat the other month was something that was really helpful to get that connection, to build that team culture. And they just took that and flew with it. And now people who were never showing up are kind of coming out of the woodworks, and they're really pushing and showing themselves what they're capable of because they fed off the belief of everybody else. And so that's been working for me. just really working one-on-one with them, like physically drawing out their roadmap to diamond, helping them put dates next to the circles, not just filling in people from their dream team, which that's awesome too, but having those dates and being like, if you don't hit it by this date, it's not a big deal. It's okay. But be pushing for that. You know, how many invites do you need to send out this week? You need to be talking about coaching, breadcrumbing it into your stories, posting it on your feed. Just those little things, those little shifts in their mindset, especially, and just continuing to build that belief. That's been really huge, because last year we hit elite for the first time. We had to hold the last 6 weeks of the year, which was freaking hard, and I will never do that again. But coming off of that, I feel like we were on a high, and then we kind of hit a lull, and now we're kind of on the upswing. So just continuing to pour that belief into them it's been huge.
So for you, it's more one with ones. It's more that personal connection with them individually, and that's working well for you.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. So Erin, you shared, obviously, I know you're going to share the graphic to the thread. Thank you for doing that. Okay. What else is working? So some of you, it's so fascinating, because how everyone builds is so dramatically different. Because I've heard really great things about that one with one, Haley, to your point, that one with one coaching with your future leaders. And then I also hear it's like, well, I just don't have time to do all of that. And who has time to do those one with ones? So with that being said, who else is doing like that personal one-on-one? So Christina, just raise of hands, just so I can kind of just see. Morgan, Larissa, Whitney. Okay. How is that working, Christina? How is that working for you that just raised your hand? And if you haven't spoken, please speak up.
Yeah, for me, like every time I've hit like a new rank, it's always doing that exact thing. Like I find the people that are consistently product with the product, like they show up in my group and they're like, I know they're doing their own. They're consistently on team calls. And so if I notice they're doing that, but they're like silent with like kind of working, I know that it's like a limiting belief, right? Because they would not spend their time on a team call every Monday if they weren't like wanting. So I usually kind of get to what's limiting them. And frequently that uncovers the willingness to work, because I said, well, work through that. And I share my limiting beliefs and like what happened. So then I pod a few, I said, and I put the ball in their court. Like, I see this in you. Would you like to kind of really work kind of more one-on-one together with a couple other people that want to do this, that also are hesitant to, and every time I've done that, I put them in a pod and I do the same thing. Like sometimes we do a group PD, like depending on what it is. Or it's just, then it's like, I'll drop in there, a podcast I listened to that was helpful, or like a training call. I kind of gave them like actionable tasks, like let's look at your business. Are you inviting to coaching daily? Are you posting on your stories about coaching? Are you posting on your page? And if not, okay, this week, like, let's make this our goal to post twice a week to our page, like share the post you're going to post here. And so people can kind of like bounce ideas off of, so it's more like, I feel like we build our business off of accountability, right? For our challengers. I think my coaches, people like need that too, because I was guilty of this forever. I was like, I want to build my team. And I was like, I'm not inviting to coach, So it's more like accountability for the tasks that they need to do, which are like the personal development in the area of like, whatever their limiting belief is. And then sharing on their stories, posting to their page and actually having coaching conversations. Throwing tactics and ideas at them, like that we take for granted all the time. Like, did you ask people in your challenge group, like that are on Shakeology, or like, because a lot of them are like, well, they wouldn't want to. So it's, you get in their head, you're realizing like they're self-limiting. So I'll give them an example of when I assumed someone wouldn't want it, and now they're like a new coach, or that a leader on my team I spoke to for 2 years, and now she's a diamond. And so one of my diamonds that just popped was like the first person I signed up on my team, like before my husband. So she's like what made me emerald, and like 4 or 5 years later, she just went diamond. So I don't know. I feel like just kind of sharing your experience as like leading from just one step ahead. Like I was never millions of steps ahead of my team, but I find like the pods and the really kind of, so they feel individualized and not just like in a mass thing, that's been working.
Awesome. Christina, thank you. So pods, obviously working one-on-ones, working with some of you, right? Lori, I don't see you. Maybe you're on the next page. Oh, are you there? Hold on. Where are you? Hang on. Where is she? Oh, go ahead. Okay. So Rachel, you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, I don't, because I work this business part-time because I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom. So I can't do all of those one-on-ones. But what I've done is created a Leading Ladies monthly earned pod where we do weekly calls and they get to choose the topics. So it's geared towards whatever they're struggling with. And some of that has been marketing stuff, content planning. Some of that has been leadership and belief. We've talked coaching, but in order to get in that pod, they have to hit Success Club the month before. So that's one way that they're still getting that one-on-one time with me, but they want to be in that pod each month. So that has helped work smarter with my time. But one thing we do is we do a lot of recognition around the $100 bonus that you get when you sign 5 coaches in that 5-week time period. So even just digging into my downline and shouting out people who are only 2 coaches, okay, Lindsay's only 2 coaches away from hitting her $100 bonus. Let's cheer her on. And that encourages momentum and recognition that's not necessarily centered around diamond, but gets them that much closer to their diamond goal. Is really utilizing that $100 bonus has helped us a little bit.
Okay, great. So leveraging the bonus, which is wonderful. Rachel, thanks for sharing. What else? Jolie, welcome, girlfriend. I see you popped on. So we're talking, obviously, do you have anything? I don't know if you know what we're talking about. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, something's wrong with my computer and my mouse doesn't work very well. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. No. I do a little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
pods, threads, team pages, grabbing people for a one-on-one. I feel like I do it all. Yeah. Anything and everything to get them there,
So tell me this, in terms of timelines, like do you all run, is it a 4-week? What does that look like? And I know it depends on their diamond goal, like their goal date, but what does that look like? Is it a 4-week in terms of, so you've identified them, they want to push to diamond. What's that next step? 1-with-1s, pods, then what?
I can share something that we're doing, and Morgan kind of alluded to it a little bit, but is really giving them leadership opportunities. And I've been doing that from the beginning, and I know that that's why some of my leaders are where they are, because I still remember the very first time my big superstar coach reached deep down in her downline and found me and said, will you help talk on a sneak peek? I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm good enough to do this. And so that's usually like if someone says they want to grow their business and they're showing up, I'm saying, okay, I want you to go tell this to the team, and I want you to go live on the team page, or I want you to kick off our sneak peek or something. And they're freaked out, obviously, but we all know that the more we did it, the more we get that confidence boost of that we can lead, not just that we can sign discount coaches or hit Success Club, but that we can actually lead other coaches. And I think that's the huge shift for the team. And my coach asked me to do her her superstar power hour. She asked me to fill in for her, no big deal. And afterwards I was like, I just led 200 people through a power hour. Even now, 5 years in, you still get that boost of confidence from your mom, So I think it really is just that, constantly giving them things that they may suck at it. And I may wish I would have done it at the end, but at least it pushed them to try.
That's great. Giving them some leadership opportunities before they're even ready, because sometimes, you all know this, you just have to rip the Band-Aid off, and they've got to start before they're even ready for it. Yeah. So thank you. Thanks, Whitney. Okay. Krista Walsh, I see you. I'm going to call you out. She's like, oh, great. I can just hear it right now.
I was checking an email. I'm like, hi, I'm listening. You totally called me out.
Focus.
I know, I'm here. I was listening. Something popped up. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay, so what are some things that you're doing that's working for you?
Oh gosh. Okay, so what I did at the end of the year, I do it every year, but I did an audit. So I did a 2020 audit of where they were and where they're going. And so then the ones that filled it out, because I'm all about revamping my threads. I don't know why, and I'm weird. I was just in my other thread talking about this. It just bugs me when I have coaches in my thread that aren't doing anything. It actually drives me nuts. And I don't know why, because it shouldn't bug me, but I'm get out of my thread, then you're not doing anything. I know that's awful. Anyway, so I know. Okay, good. So anyway, anyone that filled it out, I was like, okay, well, you're wanting to be here. So what I did is I asked them, what are in your next 3-month goals? Because I used to go, what are your yearly goals? And what do they say? Diamond. And you're like, in a year? So then I just said, what are your next 3-month goals from now? Hold on one sec. Okay, good job. And the ones that said diamond, I pulled them to the side because I'm the same way as a lot of you. I don't like push groups. I just don't think they work. I think they get overwhelming. So I had 3 coaches that all 3 I've always believed in. 2 of them didn't do anything last year. Like, and when I say they didn't do anything, they sat at Emerald all year long, in and out. All 3 have now popped. So what I did is I filled it out. They filled it out. And then we did one-on-one. So anyone that filled out the form, I did a one-on-one with and they had to be Emerald and above. So that was another thing. They had to at least be doing something. Okay, go ask Daddy, okay? And so anyone that filled it out, I got on a one-on-one with them, gave them my time. We talked about goals, and we talked about how can we get you to your goal in the next 3 months. And so what I did was I took the 3 girls that all wanted diamond as their goal in 3 months, and I just stuck them in a text thread, because that way I personally mute Instagram notifications, Facebook notifications, or else I literally would probably be on my phone all day long. My text is like open, like I'm talking to like my family, my friends. So I stuck them in a text thread and then just poured into them. And it was really just pouring belief into them. It wasn't hand holding. It wasn't like, okay, guys, I want that back tracker, because they know, like, you know what to do. But instead it was just weekly. We were checking in. I was celebrating them. I was like, okay, come back to this text thread when you sign up a coach. So little tiny, like, monotonous things that you think are kind of like, they like loved it, because what happens is there's 3 of them, and then one signs up a coach and the other ones are like, because they all started at square one, right? So they all were at the same place. So then it was kind of like that was driving the momentum that went. And then, I'm not kidding you, 2 popped on the same day, because we did have a goal date. It was the end of Q1. I don't remember what that was anymore. November something. 2 popped that, and then the 1 popped right after. So it was like I had 2 the 1 week and then 1 the following week. And that's been great. But now 1 just dropped. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now I'm on a whole different level of what do we do? But it works that way. So I just find what happens is, and I also like go in my downline and I'll look like who's showing up, who's getting close. And instead of, making diamond this big thing, I'll just text them or message them and say, hey, like, I was checking your downline. I see you're at, I usually do 6 and above. Like, I see you're at 6 coaches. Like, is this something you're wanting to push? And I always ask them, because I don't want anything for them, because it's exhausting. So I always ask, like, is this something that you're wanting? And a lot of them will say yes, some will say no, and that's okay. But then I want them to organically keep growing. So, okay, well, then just continue bringing on 3 people, signing them up as coaches, and then organically they're going to get to diamond. It may take a little bit, but the ones that do, I'll just continuously stick them in a text thread.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone have questions at all for Krista on that? She's like, whew, gosh.
My whole house goes chaotic when I unmute myself. So I'm like, oh,
that's what happens.
You can ask me questions though.
That's what happens. Okay. So you talked about recognition, right? You did the audit, their 3-month goals, kind of assess, check-ins, et cetera. Then you mentioned pouring belief into them. Most importantly, you mentioned recognition. I think for a lot of these, emerging leaders, recognition is huge for them, as you all can attest to. Even if the vast majority are probably working a full-time job in conjunction to this, recognition is huge. That is something they don't get at their full-time job. With that being said, what are some of you doing as it relates to recognition in these pods, in these groups that you have? What does that look like, and how often are you recognizing them?
Every day. Yeah. So I run my sponsorship drill down every day. And if you got SC2, I'm shouting you out with a GIF, and it's like by show of GIFs, whatever. And then on Thursday for recognition, I do the bubbles with their faces. Like when they used to just have their names, it was like, but their face, I forgot a girl's face up there one day. And she's like, my face isn't up there. So I do the faces. I shout them out every day. I do like weekend rock stars. So these are the people who worked through the weekend and showed up. And then I like to sometimes just personally text them or send them a message on Instagram, not in a thread, but just to them. And I'm just like, hey, girl, just reaching out to you. I'm so proud of you. And usually I do this once if they're at SC4, then I am pushing them. I'm like, girl, you are seriously 1 away. I'm so excited for you. And if you get to SC6, I know you can help 2 more, to push them to SC10. So just highlighting it all. and making it a super big deal and then sharing it on my stories and tagging them, they love that too.
Awesome. Artina, I think most of you, thank you for sharing. So every single day. And Erin, I think you do something like this too, right? You literally do something where you, no matter what they do, they sell their first, I mean, even if they sell their first challenge pack, don't you do something for them as well?
All the gifting. All the gifting in the entire world. I have an assistant that literally just handles gifts because it's crazy. But yes, I think that that's super important. They help their first person. They help 3 people. Like, we are in Threads celebrating every day. And just like Artina said, I am pulling like how many new coaches are, you know, in your organization. And I'll even go into like Jolie's she runs her own team page, but I'm in her team page. I'll go blow up her team or Jess Griffin's team or anybody who's adding new coaches in my organization. I don't care where you are. I'm thrilled about that. And we do the same thing. I mean, this is where like it turns me into a psycho. But yeah, changing the bubbles every week based on paid rank. I mean, for me, I want my team to see my bubble at the top of my coach's team page. And so I will like, I mean, I'm a psycho, but I got to believe that like I'm recruiting people who are as psycho as I am, who want their names on the top of the board and who want to be on the top. And so it's constantly like, oh gosh, I could let my first drop to 4, but if I keep it at 7, then I'll be higher on the thing and then make it, you know, I'm fueled by that. So I do that on my team page for my crew. I mean, they don't want to go from 2-star to diamond. They want to stay in the star diamond category. And we update it every single week.
Okay. Anyone else want to share? Thank you, Erin. I can't believe your assistant that's all that she does. I mean,
no, she does a lot more than that. I mean,
I'm sure
like, I can't do this. Please handle this for me.
Wendy, I'll share.
Sure.
One thing that's worked well for us over the last few months, I think we started it in the fall, is every single month at the top of our team page, I'll come up with some sort of, you know, topic for the month that's fitting. Like for March, for instance, it's March Madness. So we do what we call Success Club Celebration. So I just have this graphic pinned to the top of the page. And anytime anyone enrolls a challenger or coach, they pop in there and they celebrate themselves. So what happens? People start popping their gifts in there, and it's fun, you know. And then someone sees that someone else, you know, enrolled a new boot camper or coach. They shout themselves out when they hit Success Club. So we kind of like feed off of each other. And it's really fun too. Like last month it was focused around Team Cup. In January we did like raise your glass because of the new year. We've done like take a shot, Success Club shots. Like there are so many fun gifts out there. So I feel like it's a fun way to, you know, hold each other accountable, but also celebrate each other and cheer each other on when we're doing those little things behind the scenes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So recognition, it sounds as though you are obviously the experts as it relates to recognition. I think we're good there. Let's talk about those diamonds that are in your pods. And I know, Krista, you actually mentioned this, and Jolie, some of you are like, yeah, that's me too. What do you do for those ones that are obviously that hit it, right? That hit it, but then fall backwards, because that happens a lot. So what do you do with those diamond? Like, what are your next steps when that happens?
Well, sorry, my house is loud, but can I ask a question to feed off that? Because even right now, usually February is like our hard month for everyone, I feel, but March, I get my leaderboard. My assistant does it every single Monday. So every Monday we're shouting people out. One of my diamonds, and I have 9 of them, are on the leaderboard. And I'm like, what? And so that to me is hard, because I'm like, how do you lead a team of, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm struggling right now, because it's like, yeah, they're diamond. That's great. I have 2 that are in 1-star quals. That's awesome. But you're not even at Success Club. So I'm like, how? So that's where I'm struggling. So if we could even go off of that, that's because I don't know what to do, because I've never had that. Because usually like my diamonds hit and now they're not. So and they say like, well, I have share cards out, but I'm like, so going off Erin's thing, I'm even like, because I've even said that, like, use the $40 off. You guys all sign on people as coaches. How do you not? How are you dropping if you're signing on people as coaches last month and you're a brand new diamond and you're not filling the hole? So that's where I'm like, all morning I've just been aggravated, because I'm like, this is crazy to me. So that's where I'm personally struggling right now.
I want to steal a line from Artina. Find new coaches.
I know. And I know when she was talking, I was like, you're and I signed on 5 right now, but I'm like, I'm going, but I'm like,
It's awesome.
I haven't done a one-on-one call with them yet.
I literally, I think of her, thinking
Julie, I knew you were going to say that too. I'm like,
And it's also funny that
training and get new blood. Okay, bye. I get it.
as we're sitting here, I just texted Jolie a minute ago, like, hey, can you go in the Diamond Strong thread and ask people how it's looking? So we have a thread that the leaders run together. So she just bad copped my people for me. And now I was able to chime in without seeming like a bully, right?
And she just bad copped my people that's in the thread that's almost there. Because she's like, my goal is to hit it this month. And she's 3 away. And I'm like, no, you need to go do your slow death march talk to her, because I've said it before. She needs to hear it from you, you know?
She sicked me on her coach and I sicked her on my coach.
Good caught that.
But that's how
I need my success partner to go into my threads. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I always I taught yoga for 9 years, y'all. And I could say the same cue to the same student 9 years. And they can go take a class from somebody else. And then they come back and they're like, oh my God, I just heard. And I'm like, I've been saying that to you for 9 years. It's the same with this. They hear it differently from other people. And sometimes Aaron can totally say things more assertively than I can to my coaches, and vice versa. You know, so just find anybody that can do that for you.
So we have this pod called Diamond. We have 2 pods that are super important. Literally, it's the magic. It's the Almost Freaking There pod and the Diamond Strong pod. So when you're 3 or less away, you get to be in the Almost Freaking There thread. So that's a big deal. Like you did it. You're in this thread. The top leaders are all here to help you strategize, be your hype squad, and get you to the finish line. And you're supposed to be in that thread for a week or 2. Like, don't hang out in that thread. Just like Krista, just like you said, like, get out of my thread. Like, what are you doing? We should probably revamp it. But like, people they go in there. So once they're in there, they have our team of leaders breathing belief into them. And I literally, once I put somebody in there, like, the other leaders do their thing. I got them to the 3 and away thing, and the other leaders do their thing. Jolie just added somebody today. I've been all over her this morning, and Jolie's been all over my people. And there's more people in that pod than just me and Jolie. So anyway, once they go Diamond, we take them out like they graduated. The goal is to get out of the Almost Freaking There thread because you got there, and there's a Diamond Strong thread. And I know for me, my big mistake last year was I popped a lot of diamonds, and unintentionally, I didn't realize I was doing this. I was very much like, on to the next, like, oh, check, on to the next. And they didn't stick because I didn't work with them to star diamond. So that's our team's focus this year. And the Diamond Strong thread is about like replacing the holes and replacing the placeholders and building Diamond Strong, learning how to check your back office. Where are your holes? How can we fix them? So I've got Chu and Qual that both have holes right now. And Jolie just went in there and was like, how's everybody doing? So then I could be like, oh yeah, Michelle, how's that thing? And Rachel, how's that thing? But no one really falls out in that pod. Because that's literally what the focus is, just to get them through that 6 weeks, and then they graduate out of there. So it's all just like business by FOMO, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, and
in business by momentum, we're putting people into momentum. And I love using the language of like, you're an outlier. I say that. I don't say that a lot, but I say it to the people that need to hear it. Like, you're an outlier. Like, this is, and it's like, oh, like, it makes them rise up, I think, you know?
So what other pods do you all have? Okay. So obviously, Aaron, you mentioned the push, your unicorn, then you've got, I like the Diamond Strong thread. So they graduate, right? I think that's good for all of us just to kind of wrap our heads around. You've got that Diamond Strong thread. Obviously, once they hold for 6 weeks, they go to another thread. But that's where you're really building that belief into them, checking, to your point, their back office. From there, do you see a lot of them stay in that, or are they graduating to the next pod?
Once they go lifetime, they're out. Like, great job, you're out, you did it. Yep. But the idea also is they're building success partnerships here, right? Like they're working together and they're seeing what's possible. And like, my coach just got access to Jolie and Hannah and whoever else is in that pod they feel like they just got, you know, the really special treatment, which they did. But you know, they all get really tired of just me.
Well, to your point, I think we all can attest to that. Your coaches can hear it from you a million times, so they're blue in their face, but then if they hear from somebody else, it's like, oh, you're like, I've been telling you that the last 5 years. I mean, and now you're finally going to do whatever, you know, Aaron says or whatnot. So go to your diamond pod for your team. Yeah. Okay. Any other, I mean, Krista, does that help you? I think that answers your question, right? In terms of what you can do.
Yeah, my only question was, because I couldn't hear, sorry. So the almost freaking there, is that for anyone pushing to diamond, or is that someone that's kind of in their 6-week qual? And then strong diamond is for lifetimes and above? That's the only thing.
Almost freaking there is if you're 3 or less away.
Okay.
The goal is to get it that week. We don't linger in this thread.
Yep.
And then once they hit, we celebrate them. We drop a gift saying like, you're booted out. Like the goal, we let them know the goal is to be booted out of this thread.
Yeah, I love that.
And then they shift over to diamond strong, and they get the roadmap for like double diamond, which is double emeralds, double depth with, and they're building towards that in 6 weeks, solidifying their diamond. The goal again is to be booted out in 6 weeks. They get booted out and sent to the diamond thread. My diamond thread has the precedence that once your lifetime, you're in this thread, but you can't stay in this thread. And if you drop your diamond, you have to be in Success Club. So it's like FOMO built around that. And I'm also coming off of a retreat, which is super helpful because none of these girls have met each other, and they all fell in love with each other even more at the retreat, and nobody wants to leave that thread.
Got it. Okay. Jolie, thank you. I think that's really, is that helpful for all of you that are on the call? Yes. Okay. Anything else about just obviously pushing for diamond that you guys want to hear more about? You've got all of you on the call, all of these amazing brains that are on the call.
Can I ask a question and anyone can answer it? So I want to run a diamond retreat. I am currently 2-star. We were 5-star elite last year, but a lot of my diamonds dropped, and I have some new blood who are super close to diamond. So I want to do a diamond retreat. I know with COVID, everything has been crazy this year, but to encourage my girls to get to diamond, I'm planning one for I'm thinking summer. So can anybody speak to like what you set your requirements for your retreat? Do you pay for it all? Like, I'm not making a ton of money, so I don't want to like put out a lot. But I know for me, live events and things where we get together, really like Summit, really just propel my business forward. So I want to do something for my girls in that respect. So if anybody could give me a little insight, I'd really appreciate it. I can go. We just did one in January, and with COVID, everyone had to get COVID tested and then quarantined before we left, so that it was only, of course, diamonds. But we had a specific qual date period, so everyone, if they hit diamond before, great. But they had to be qualified during the 6 weeks that we were holding as a team, and all of them who are pushing knew that, like you, I'm not making bukudos of money. So I said, with 5-star, there's a 5-star bonus, and this is literally me just giving back to you. So if we don't hit this goal, we can't go. So it kind of brought them together. So mine was a specific date period, but it was my first one. So take that for what it's worth. I like that. Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel.
So I've been on a retreat where you had to pay a $100 deposit to kind of save your spot. So that's something that you could think about doing because that does help out with, costs of things. So that's also another idea.
Yeah, my coach has always had us pay a $100 deposit. So that's just kind of what I've been doing. I think for my first two, for my last one, and then we just had our second one in February, I did a $50 deposit. I will say, so in oh my gosh. So my first retreat was January of 2020. So we were pushing in 2019. I had like no diamonds besides my husband. So for that one, I literally just did like get to diamond and hold for 6 weeks because at that point, nobody had done that yet. So that was the only qualification. And we went into like 3-star, and I ended up inviting a couple emeralds who I saw really showing up, you know, like they were close to diamond. I will say in January of last year, I think my total income was like $2,900. Like I did the math. So I think my retreat might have cost more than what I made. Like it was a rough time in business, like coming off like not a great quarter 4. I didn't even get like the 2-star bonus, like all this stuff. But I will say that it 100% paid off. And right afterwards, like we got the 2-star bonus, went into 5-star qual, hit elite. Like it was, I do not regret any of that. And then for this last retreat that we just did in February, I think it was the same, like hold for 6 weeks. And then I did like, they had to qualify for Success Club, like a certain amount of months in the year, or like at least have like a certain Success Club point amount over the month. So like, depending on when you're planning on having it, that'll kind of determine like what those qualifications might be. But I know going forward, if I'm going to give a whole year for a retreat, the biggest thing that I have happen is I have people hit and qualify early in the year and then not do anything for 6 months. And then I have all these coaches come to my retreat. I love them deeply. Don't get me wrong, but it drives me crazy when I have someone who hasn't worked for 3 months come to a retreat for like a free vacation. It drives me bonkers. So now what I'm going to start doing, if I do have that long for like a qualification period, is things like you have to qualify for at least 6 months in the year, and at least one of those months has to be in the 4th quarter, like, you know, things like that. Both of the retreats that I did have though, at the very end, I ended up inviting a couple coaches who didn't technically hit the qualifications, but I saw them showing up because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I want to come out of retreats is energy and fire and momentum. And both of the girls who I invited to both my retreats who hadn't hit diamond yet, hit diamond like 3 weeks after the retreat. So that's usually like, I have qualifications and like rules, but I also say it's also my retreat. So I'm going to invite whoever I want, like if I see them showing up, and it's always paid off. So I don't know if that helps.
Thank you very much.
One other thing that we're doing right now is travel cash, so they can earn part of their travel to our retreat, which has been pushed back, and now it's going to be the weekend of Summit. We're just kind of and we're reframing it as, great, you're a newer coach that may not have qualified, like there is still time to join this retreat. And it's like every month you hit Success Club 5, you get $10 in an envelope. Every time you hit Success Club 10 or more, or you onboard a coach, like we've got dollar amounts for each retreat or each win. And then we have specific things. If you rank advance, or there's 50 or $100, and it's been nice. You've got these new coaches that are all of a sudden have 50 in their envelope or 90 in their envelope. And if they don't come, it's not like I send them a check, right? But depending on where it is, they are going to have to put money out of their own pocket, and it does help offset some of the costs for them. But I do the same thing. I'm like, listen, the money for this retreat only comes from this bonus that we're going to have to work towards. So I make that really clear. Sorry, I've got someone else in the background adding as well. So I'm going to stop talking because she's going to take over. But I'm happy to add that graphic as well. And I think people, and we do an update every single month on where people stand in terms of travel cash for the retreat.
Jennifer, was that helpful?
Yes, all of that was very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, I know we just have a few moments left. Anything else? I mean, lots of great ideas in terms of I literally have so much notes, and I am recording this, so I will send out the link to all of you as well. One of the things that I do want to touch on is, Alicia mentioned Summit. And before I forget, I posted this yesterday. I don't know if all of you have seen that, but just some clarity around Summit, speaking of, right? Based on last year's survey feedback, Summit is going to be midweek. Hopefully you saw that. I know some of you are like, wah, wah, but other ones are like, yes. So do with it as you may, but just think of it as an opportunity. You can take the midweek, right? And then spend the weekend with your team if you want to extend that time. I know a lot of you are doing that as well. So just whatever, for what it's worth. It will be July 14th. So it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at it'll be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is Pacific Standard Time. Every morning, oh, Krista, they are so cute. Oh my God, look at Michaela. I mean, oh my God, look at those girls. Every morning, of course, there'll be a workout, 7 a.m. workout, and there will be activities, obviously, in the AM and PM, and then Friday will be the celebration, okay? And with that being said, the day will be broken up into several different sessions. One of the focus we're gonna focus on is a Let's Get Up launch. The other one, BOD enhancements, which you're gonna hear a little bit more about that, and maybe some other consumables, some new consumables for you to potentially sell. So that's exciting. That's coming your way. That's around Summit. Any questions around Summit? Okay, just mark it in your calendars. The other thing, a couple of other last things, you all know Super Weekend's coming. I mean, fast and furious. It's like less than 3 weeks away. I can't believe it. And it will be on that Saturday, FAQ 9794. Good things going there. Omwala test group, that's going on. Some of you that are on the call, some of you elite leaders that are on the call, some of you are in the test group. So stinking excited for that. That actually starts 3/29. Like it starts in 2 weeks. We've got 320 success starters that are in that group. And I know a lot of you probably have some of your, coaches that are in that group. Going to be amazing, like amazing. I told Doug yesterday, this is like a personal note. I'm like, okay, can you sign me up? Can you sign me up for this test group? How do I get in? So that's happening. That will take place. Again, invites should have already been sent out. So invites were sent out last Monday, I want to say, the 8th. Everyone should have received that. At least if you've got a coach that's in that group, there's a Facebook group they should have been invited to. We changed it up a little bit. If you've got coaches that are in that, they'll probably tell you, how we've been very stringent around kind of the requirements in terms of their social media posts, etc. There's 3 different phases in that Facebook group to where they can share a little bit more each week. So that's in there as well. And then last but not least, save the date, May 19th. I don't know what that's going to be. You're like looking at me like I'm crazy. So we've got so many announcements coming down the pipeline for all of you, which it's going to be a freaking exciting year. Let me just tell you, like with new product launches, etc., it's going to be exciting. May 19th, I don't know what that looks like, but just save that date. I'm not sure if it's going to be all day, full day, but there will be some big things that will be announced on May 19th. Again, I can't share what that is, but some things are coming May 19th. So with that being said, all of you, it is now 12 o'clock sharp your time. I want to say, on behalf of obviously myself, just the corporate team, thank you. I mean, thank you all for sharing, for spending this hour with us. And I will send out the recording. If there's any questions, let me know. And then next week, we will have Jemima. Jemima is our VP of compliance. And I know Heather Shipley, some of you were saying, what can we post about? What can we not post about in terms of income claims, etc. She's going to be on the call. It'll be riveting, I promise. And hope to see all of you next week. Everyone have a great week. Bye.